course, my mic was muted. We always have technical difficulties over here at Horror with Nats. Welcome. I'm Nadia, your host. Welcome to another Thursday coverage of The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 6. If you're in the chat watching, please do me a favor, hit that like button and share out the stream if you are so kind to do so. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel as I'm trying to hit 1K subs. I'm pretty close. And if you're watching on replay, do me a favor and leave me a comment. And the comment I would like you to leave me is, I'm struggling with a high protein breakfast. Give me some breakfast ideas. That doesn't involve eggs, or eggs is like a very minute part of it, please. I'm tired of eating eggs. Did that mute gremlin that haunts? Yes, it did. It did. Everybody can hear me, right? Though, I hope so. Yes, okay. It looks like on my end. Now, you would think, as the only woman on the panel, I would be the one that would be late. En contraire, everybody is late today. I'm shaming all of them. Everybody's late today. So all the men on the panel are late today. Blue says he's on his way because he just walked out of Stitch. That's perfectly fine. I have not heard from Toxic. Ryan is going to be late, and I know Paul said he would be late due to traffic. So all good. We can hang out until they get here. At a certain point, if they're not here, I guess I'm covering The Last of Us by myself, which is cool because this was a nothing burger of an episode. In my opinion, it should have been a very emotionally packed episode, but I think too little too late is my opinion on this one, but we'll get into it. My husband was very nice to get me a swig. Do we know what swigs are? Okay, swig is a dirty sodas, I guess. Very popular in Utah with the Mormons. Became very popular. Will be your temp panel, obviously. Thanks, Sturd. What's up? Thank you so much for dropping in. Yeah, your live was on, and I was just like, why not hop on? You guys look familiar. Not familiar, but similar tone of my show. So believe me, nothing can scare me. Believe me, nothing can scare me. So thank you for stopping by. Have a good gaming stream. Does that make you the last of them? Yes. I am the surviving one. Okay, I'm going to say hi to everybody. Rachel was here. Good evening, Rachel. As always, my bestie. Blue is on his way. Ohana meets family. I'm so jealous you got to see it because Chris will not go see Stitch this weekend. But good point is, maybe we'll see it the weekend after kids have all seen it. Lunar, what's up? Did that mute gremlin? Yes. I always have technical difficulties. And Chris, I saw your Last of Us. Dad jokes won. Right? Right? Dad jokes one. What a nothing burger of an... Listen, I love you guys, and I'm glad this show has brought all of us together in what has come to be one of the most like tedious shows I have to watch that I don't want to watch. But I watch it because I want to hang out with you guys each week. I did have some news on it that I pulled up. Why don't we just look at this stuff while I wait? So, all right. So I saved a bunch of bookmarks and stuff. So let me put that on the screen. You know what? Since the boys aren't here, I'm going to put some music on. We're going to solo this out. All right. A little chilled music. Okay. So I like this one. Can't really see it because it's so small. I've said, don't judge me on my bookmarks, okay? There's nothing like not safe for work here. Don't judge me on my bookmarks if something else pops up. So they're kind of the same, don't you think about it? Because they both have bratty daughters that don't deserve them. That don't deserve them at all. I like this. This was pretty cool. I guess the scene from episode 5, the opening, is like nod to in the game. So if your hair turns too gray from watching slop, will it start to fall out? That is a good question. Though my hair is naturally gray. I'm already grayed. So at what point? The scream of shock I let out when she did what she did in front of her. Oh my God, Rachel. Listen, I know I was a brat to my dad growing up, but holy shit, somebody needed to slap. That's, you know what? Sometimes, I'm not saying, listen, I don't have children. I'm not saying abuse your kids. I'm not saying it. Sometimes the fear of the belt. My dad would just give me the eyes. My dad, I'm in my 30s. My dad's when I'm sitting next to my dad still raises his hand just to like maybe brush like something off of his face or something, and I still wince. So like we're not gonna go that far, but man, oh man. But I thought this was cool. Also, dun, 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 this is the biggest bullshit I have ever seen. Neil Druckmann or Druckmann confirms that the Fireflies could have made a cure with Ellie. Our intent, they would have made a cure that makes the most interesting we don't speak English here. Philosophical question for what Joel does. Was our science a little shaky and now people are questioning it? Yeah, but that was our intent. What's some bullshit retroing this shit kind of thing going on? What this is bullshit. This makes me not less and less, as much as people praise the first game, less and less to want to play this game. Why? It would have been better. Leave it a mystery. A mystery. Let people have the discussion. This is stupid. This is dumb. Retcon. Thank you. Retcon. Retcon. Thank you, Blue. Where are you, bro? Stop chatting and get your ass in here. What's up, Rio? Evening. I am well. I'm well. I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood. It's not abuse, it's child rearing. Thank you. Just like Abby's dad. Wah. I think that's all. Oh, no. There was another one. See? Don't judge it, guys. I can't find it. Basically, what I saw. Yes, I will send the link on Facebook message. Yeah, Twitter's been weird today. Give me 1 second. Twitter's been really weird today. It won't load my messages like at all for some reason. All right, I just sent it. I can text while driving. Damn it, woman questioned me. Don't text and drive. How about that? Stop texting and driving. Anyway, okay, back to my point. So, Neil, of course, says, we need a 4th season. We need a 4th season to tell the complete story of The Last of Us. Why, you ask? Somebody popped in. Oh, there you are. What's up, Toxic? I was just about to pull up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The Twitter won't load messages for some reason. I don't know what's going on. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no worries. Hold on. Let me send it over to Blue too, apparently. He's not having he's having issues too.
I think it must be Twitter on the whole, right? Or
I think so, because some of my messages don't load on the app, but they'll load on the desktop, but then they don't load on, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Blue, why can't I find you on Facebook?
Well, I don't want to dox him, but I can. I mean, you want me to private message you his name?
Yeah, I know the first. What's the last? That's what I need.
Well, I don't want to dox him.
Hold on. I'll find it. I'll find it. Because how many of them? How many would I know?
I don't know how many people you know. I just sent it in the private chat.
Oh, I don't think I'm Facebook friends with you, Blue.
Oh,
so that might be a problem.
Well, what about put it in the loser lounge, the loser dorkside chat?
I left that chat. Can you send it over to him?
Yes, ma'am. I sure will. I will do that.
Weird. I thought I was Facebook friends with, and I can't find it. I hate Facebook, man. I'm barely on Facebook to begin. Facebook is for family and like to see pictures of like my nieces and nephews. That's about it. Okay. All right. We're derailed for some reason. Or oh, I can send it to you in Instagram. Oh wait, did you just message me, Blue? Oh, you did. Oh, we are. What the fuck? Okay, hold on. There you are. I sent it to you. Hopefully Paul can get in. Technical difficulties, folks. It's okay. It's all right. What's up, Zach?
It's Twitter's fault. It's not our fault.
Yeah, Twitter's been down all day with it. It's weird. And then there's been no app update, so I've been checking. So I don't know. All right. So he has it. I hope. I don't know how to get it to Paul because I think the only way I message Paul is Twitter. So this will be interesting. On it. I'll wait for. Okay, I know. Anticipation. I wanted to talk about something, but I'm going to wait for Blue because I'll bring it up and then we'll talk about it and then we'll see as everybody else kind of stroll into it. How are you? How's your day going?
It was crazy. I was working all day, and then the girlfriend wanted to barbecue. She's been off because she has a state job, so she's off for the 4-day weekend. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead and start. I'm like 3 minutes out. All right. Fine, Blue. Stop texting, bro.
I mean, I feel like that's the least crime that he does as a driving and doing stuff. But I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Wasn't it you that said season 3 was gonna be like we were thinking season 3 was gonna be a Abby story?
I don't think I'm the only one that said it, but I did say it. Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, I'm shocked now that they'll even. I mean, until you told me, I was very surprised that they even do a season 3, considering how badly received this season has been.
Oh well, they're already greenlit for season 3, though. They're already so.
Yeah, no, but I did say if they did do it that way, it would probably be Abby centric, because what else are they going to do? I mean, it's not like they could. Yeah, so.
I see the comment right below.
What does it say? I can't read it. It looks like gibberish.
It says, that anal scene is happening. Oh my god.
What? What? What?
It says that anal scene is happening. Oh my god.
Oh my god. What the fuck? That's crazy.
So they're hoping for season 4. And I was like, man, you better hope season 3 doesn't get canceled.
I don't see how they can conceivably get a season 4. I mean, I don't know. It's really, it's so up in the air. I mean, you're going to be pretty surprised with what I say tonight. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. I don't really know. So as far as you getting the link to out to anybody, what if can you post the link on your thing, or is that too much of a security violation?
Yeah, I usually keep it. Paul hasn't said anything. I assume he's able to view it. So if I'm watching the chat, and Ryan's going to be late anyway. So he's going to be about 20 minutes. We'll probably be wrapping up when Ryan gets, because again, I feel this episode was a nothing burger again.
Really?
It's not that it's a nothing burger, but I don't think the emotional impact that they were looking for is here in episode 6. This would have been better episode 4, maybe.
Well, I mean, that's certainly
a little bit earlier.
Yeah, no, facts. That's certainly true. I don't disagree with you there. I will say that this had quite an impact on me, this episode. So,
well, you're a dad too.
I am a dad. Yeah, I am.
So that relates to a lot of things. And I will say this episode also proved one thing. Everybody's been saying it. Bella can't carry the show by herself.
No.
You bring, like, even the scenes that she was in, I was so annoyed with her. I
was as well, although I do have an alternate take on it that I don't think I've heard any other reviewer or YouTuber say. So I feel pretty confident you're going to be in the small elite group that actually has a different opinion about something. So
I'm not an elite group. Do I get a members jacket?
I feel like you should. I feel like you could rock a members jacket, members only jacket for Nadia. Yeah, let's get a members only jacket for Nadia. I mean, she lives in Vegas after all, so she might as well be in the mafia.
I hate Pedro, but he was great. And he was great. Again, I know everybody doesn't like him because he's on the face of everything. And some of the things that come out of his mouth, everybody's like, ah. But the dude, I mean, he's got to pay his bills, right? This is
Facts.
what he works toward.
Yeah.
So he's going to accept major roles, whether he's right for them or not. Who we should be blaming more so. And I actually like him as Joel, to be honest. I think this role fits him. But like Fantastic Four, for an instance, everybody's up in roar about it. Don't blame him for accepting a job. Blame the studio for casting him. like just, you know, do you know what Swig is? I don't know if they're in Kansas City. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm in Kansas City. It's Naughty. I wrote a book that takes place in Kansas City, and it says author. So I'm totally
I know.
Yeah. But thank you for the concern. No, I don't know what Swig is. Is that an energy drink of some kind, or?
So it's a dirty soda company that makes like weird dirty sodas. It's based in Utah. They just opened 2 in Vegas.
What is a dirty soda? Explain that to me.
So it'll be like, welcome, Blue.
Hey.
I'm glad you survived texting and driving. So think like flavors added in like Diet Cokes, Coke Zeros, Dr. Peppers. Like this one is called the Just Peachy. So it's Coke Zero with pineapple, peach preservatives, and coconut and lime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Mormons, they can't have coffee and they can't have alcohol, but they can have soda. Explain that one to me. And this company, so they have a lot of like dirty soda companies up there that like make sodas interesting instead of you just drinking a normal like Diet Coke. Sure. But my husband calls this the chunky soda because it has like peach preservatives, like pieces of peaches in there. But I will tell him if he's watching, this is the chunkiest I've ever had. It's almost unbearable. It is very chunky. It's like he went, hey, make it extra chunky.
I'm not gonna lie, you're making me thirsty. I'm up at my work right now, and we have a coffee station, and I'm thinking about going and grabbing a cup of coffee. If you and Blue want to chat it out real quick before
sure,
we rock and roll.
Go grab it. Ohana means family. Excuse me, they used to strictly say no to soda as well. Really? Well, they don't anymore if you watch Mormon Wives. Yeah. Anyway, we were talking about how Abby's going to be season 3, and then
it's so
they're
going
to finish up with the scenes 4.
Like you said, like I'm not Pedro. I'm not mad at Pedro. He thinks he is a good actor. You can't blame the guy. Mm-hmm. He's not a bad actor by any means.
That's what I'm saying. You can't blame him for accepting jobs.
No. But that's the problem. But like, you know, but that's like you said, it's not his fault that they want to put him in everything, and not every actor is suited for the role. Like I like Pedro, but he's gonna be a shit Reed Richards. He just is. Fucking what's the name? John Krasinski was awesome as Reed for the whole 5 minutes before he died. But
to be honest, I would have rather just an unknown person, or maybe somebody who's like maybe more of not an A-lister, you know, somebody different. But yeah, I just How was Lilo and Stitch?
I mean, even my kid, I watched the cartoon today just as preparation, and some people said people, I think they're going to be bitching about, well, it's not shot for shot like the cartoon. I'm like, well, if it's shot for shot for the cartoon, then go watch the cartoon. But the thing is, I was telling my kid this is coming this thing, Naughty, where some people say, well, why remake it for? Okay, look, generations are generations, right? Kids now 10 and under, we appreciate 2D. We appreciate Lilo and Stitch and Aladdin and everything, things like that. A lot of kids nowadays are used to CGI. That's how it goes. Yeah. You know, it's a lot of kids because I'll sit with my son and he's 18, loving it. But we had a whole group of kids behind us. Some kids like, oh, does Stitch die? Does something happen with Nani? And like these kids, this is their first time seeing Lilo and Stitch. A lot of kids in 5, 6, 7, 8 years old don't want to watch a 2D cartoon from 20 years ago. So
even younger than that. Like my nephew is a couple months, and he doesn't have the attention, but he has the attention for like Paw Patrol, which is more that 3D kind of style animation.
Yeah. But no, it's it's watching a cartoon again today. It's about 80% accurate. So they do make some changes, but there's so many shots and dialogue and jokes right from the cartoons, you can't complain. But Disney, Jesus Christ, take note. Whoever animated Stitch, this is the best live action. Like they must obviously use a puppet or something, because a couple times, like I guess right here or something, and digitizing it, because it looked like Stitch was real. Like that's the best animation they've done in like the past decade. Stitch was fucking he was perfect. The girl who plays Lilo, I hope they make like 19 sequels. Her tone, her pitch is perfection. Again, there's some changes, but you know, like Pleakley, like Leon talked about, a couple things like, well, Pleakley's not wearing a dress. Also, they're not aliens. The joke of the cartoon is an alien's wearing like the fat professor there with a Hawaiian shirt is good in a cartoon. Live action, that would look pretty stupid. So having Pleakley and the professor have these digitized, like they look like humans, it makes sense for 2025. So I don't mind them small changes. But yeah, Stitch, same voice actor, same jokes, and yeah, it's basically shot for shot the cartoon. So I know people are gonna say like, well, I don't want to go see that, and I'm like, but again, kids are fucked. It was almost sold out, and so but in terms of the adaptations, I mean, compared to like Snow White, Aladdin, was Beauty and the Beast, Mufasa, this is the best they've done. Period. And unfortunately, I don't think they learned the lesson though, because they got it right one time, but they still failed 19 times in a row. And because like,
I didn't hate Beauty and the Beast. I know a lot of people did. I didn't hate it.
It was so shot for shot accurate, but like they were smart. They didn't make it where like like a Lilo's non-binary or Stitches like whatever trans or something. They didn't, none of that shit. It's just shot for shot the cartoon, and that's smart. But will they learn the lesson? Probably not. But yes,
I'm so excited. I saw the Stitch popcorn bucket, like where it's Stitch itself.
Yeah.
And it's like textured them.
For Regal, but that was $50. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, guys, it's cute, but I'm not, this combo was like 15 for this, but I'm like, I'm not dropping $50 on a fucking popcorn bucket. Like I love Stitch, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's $50 fucking dollars. Like
I almost did, but I went like, where am I going to put this thing? I barely have room. Like baby Deadpool's down here on the floor. Like I don't have room for any of these anymore.
I mean, I only got the Vader one just because the Vader one breeds. That's why, because that's it. This one only because right there. Like that's only I got this for. But even this was $45. And I'm like,
yeah, but see, I can understand spending $45 on Vader versus Stitch. You know, like if you have kids, maybe, or if you're a Disney adult, right, adding it to your collection and such. But I can't see paying $50 for like. Yeah. Though I will say that T-Rex one that's coming out for Jurassic Park looks pretty cool.
Well, it's like people said, I can see this doing $1 billion because you know what? Because families are not taking their kids to see Mission Impossible. Also, good word of mouth because hey guys, remember how Snow White is pushing agendas or Mufasa's this, and there's no agendas. It's just a wholesome kids film.
It's a fun movie to take your kids to.
And I guarantee it's going to crack $1 billion. And unlike Minecraft, this is actually funny and not fucking. No one's doing chicken jockeys for Lilo and Stitch. It just parents are bringing 5-6 kids and having a good family wholesome time, which is why. And Toxic knows this. Like my son's like, Dad, well, some people don't want to, go out to a theater, but there was a time where going to a theater was an event. You'd bring the mom, dad, the kids and stuff, and everyone having a good time. That's why some Disney remakes are cash grabs, but like going to a theater should be an event. You should see Lilo and Stitch. So Lilo and Stitch, whether you're 5 or 95, appeals to everybody, and that's what Disney's been fucking missing for the past decade. There's no agendas, nothing, just Stitch. That's it. Like, come on, Disney.
We're gonna try to see it during the week because now opening week, kids are gonna be everywhere.
Oh, definitely
with this, and I just don't have the patience for it. But we are seeing Mission Impossible Saturday night in 4DX.
Yeah, everybody.
And I'm hearing mixed reviews on that one.
Even open bar, everyone's like three hour
open
movie.
Bar spent like an hour and a half trashing that thing, and I got to tell you, it doesn't sound. From what Luke
I'm still gonna go see it. I love Mission Impossibles. I love them all.
No.
I'm not telling you not to watch it. I'm just saying
I just want to watch Tom Cruise run. That's all I want to do.
Well, I'll bet he does that.
There you go. Yeah.
No, even people ask Drinker that. He said, Drinker, would you he's like, listen, if you watched them all, go see this one for yourself. He said go watch. He just said for a film that's 3 hours long, it's a long fucking movie.
3 hours in 40X? Yes. All right, maybe I need to re-examine if I'm going to go see this in 40X. 3 hours, because I'm not seeing it, because they're only doing one showing, and it's very late at night, because Lilo and Stitch is taking over the entire theater with 40X. And it's already past my bedtime when the movie starts. And it's 3 hours, so I will get home to like 1 in the morning, maybe.
On top of two, I think Stitch is only like an hour. It's only like an hour 35. That's the problem too.
My
Like
girlfriend's
3
taking her son to go
hours?
see it at
My
like
bladder's not gonna
9:30
handle
tomorrow morning. So
Yeah.
3 hours, man. No way. No way.
I mean, okay,
Though I do want to go see Jurassic Park.
yeah, okay. So Lilo and Stitch is an hour and 45. Again, Mission Impossible is 2 hours and 50 minutes. So it's an entire
That
hour.
doesn't even
longer.
include the trailers, the
Right.
stupid little ads they got to do on top
Yeah.
of it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Chris,
rough,
if you're
man.
watching, we're gonna have to maybe re-examine going to go see it earlier in an IMAX or a Dolby, not 40X. I don't know if my back can handle 40X for 3 hours. That's crazy. Oh man. All right. Well, that being said, we are here to talk about The Last of Us, unfortunately.
Yeah, we are.
Last of Us.
Paying the
Yeah.
price. Pay the price.
I know. I know Paul is dealing with a lot of traffic issues, and I know Ryan said he'd be late, but it's all right. We can handle this because this was a nothing burger of an episode, in my opinion. In my opinion, I know we will have a discussion about it. So, Last of Us episode 6 is titled "The Price." Is a flashback heavy installment that pauses the present day action in Seattle to explore the evolving relationship between Joel and Ellie in the years between their arrival in Jackson and Joel's death. Directed by Neil, is it Druckmann?
Yeah,
I
Druckmann.
think, right? And
Yeah.
written by Druckmann, Halley Gross, and Craig Mazin. The episode uses Ellie's birthday as a narrative framework to trace their bond and their final, culminating into their final conversation. It's a character-driven episode, so it focuses very much on emotional depth. So there's generational trauma, fatherhood, truth, lies, a lot of themes across of it. So we will. I'll bring it up. What an episode. Well, Toxic, initial thoughts on this one?
I mean, the last couple I've been sort of lambasting them. I've been shitting on these episodes, and I don't think that too many people can blame me for that.
I mean, people can blame you, but yeah.
I mean, sure. I mean, you can blame me for whatever you want. But I feel like we've had really weak tea, and it's just been kind of all over the place. I mean, I don't want to rehash everything I've said over the last couple streams and on my own channel, but it's been really bad. This episode, it's like finding a diamond in a big piece of dog shit. It's so weird. This was really a great episode, and it really not only held my attention, but it from the very start all the way to the very last frame, but it revitalized a lot of my interest in the show. That being said, the fact that we know that Pedro Pascal's character Joel is dead, seeing him in a very flashback heavy. I wouldn't even say flashback heavy. I mean, I think you wouldn't be able to argue that it's about 95% flashback, dovetailing into the final scene. So I don't, we know we're not going to get any more Joel, so they really cranked it all the way up to 11 with that. So judging it on its own merit, it's a fantastic episode. It's fantastic. It may be one of the best episodes I've ever seen of the show, either in season 1 or season 2. That being said, it also does the thing that I've been complaining about and I've been crying about the last several episodes, which is when you have great acting in an episode, it really brings attention to Bella Ramsey's shortcomings as an actress. And, listen, I can go all day. I'm Lord Toxic. I can shit all over what she looks like a potato, yada yada yada. I can do that as much as I want to. Everybody else has done it a lot, and they're probably even do it better. I don't even need to do that. The fact is, she can't act. She's not a good actress. And hey, buddy, how are you?
Hey, you guys.
So when you bring Pascal back in, and he does the phenomenal job, and even to a lesser degree, the guy from what's it called, Narcos, playing Joel's father, him knocking it out of the park. All of this great acting just shines a light on Bella Ramsey that she really can't withstand. So, but however, I will say she did kind of elevate some of the stuff, and I came to a realization that I'll probably hold off until the end of the show tonight. A realization that I have not had up to this point, that I got from both watching this episode twice and from some other YouTubers and some of the things that they've said. I came to kind of a strange epiphany with the direction of the show, but I'm gonna put a pause on that for now, put a pin in it, and come back to me on it, and I'll extrapolate more on it.
Okay. Blue, initial thoughts on
Well,
this?
not because I know you're not the biggest gamer, but was the biggest problem with the game is that I'm not mad at the show because this is what happens in the game. It's actually so far they're staying to the storyline. We do see Joel again, fucking 6 hours after he's killed, and like from a narrative standpoint, this episode should have been episode 1 versus episode 7. But you can't get mad at the show for copying the fucking game, and that's why the game was so terrible. And it is showing more of what. The whole relationship between Joel and Ellie and what a total asshole Ellie turns into, and then how much they make Joel the hero, and he is the hero and protagonist of the first game and first season. Now he's the bad guy, and they really hammered this shit home to the point where now Neil Druckmann's fucking retconning stuff. Oh yeah, there was always a cure. Nah, dude, there wasn't. Play the first game. Look at the audio.
Oh, that
files.
pisses me off so much.
Oh yeah.
Like, leave it a mystery. Why say anything? Just leave it a mystery, because it is something that fans have been discussing for years and future fans will discuss. Now you've taken that away from them. That conversation. What a dick. Wow.
Yeah, and the stuff that Ellie was doing, and also there's some stuff they keep, like they add stuff like this, the opening scene, which was fucking fantastic. This scene was great. I'm like, wow, this is good. But then they add other shit, like the whole backstory with the therapist there and her husband. That never happened in the game. So, and that stuff was kind of terrible. It's like you add good stuff, but then you have shitty stuff. And overall, though, Joel should have had some deep conversations with Ellie. Like it wasn't as cut and dry as like, I just killed a bunch of fireflies. There was a reason. Like the cure wasn't guaranteed. I saved your fucking life, and the whole like, you took away my purpose. No, your purpose is to be alive. And Toxin knows this. As being a father, we'll get into that. Like she's like, you're selfish. I'm not selfish because I just lost a daughter. I got a second daughter back, and I've had friends of mine say, like, Chris, man, if some guys like, I'll take a gun, put a gun to your kid's head, and to kill your kid, we got to save 10,000 other kids. In all fairness, them 10,000 other kids can go fuck themselves because my kid's more important than 10,000 other kids. That's how life is. It's always good for people to say, well, will you sacrifice a child? When it's your kid, it's different. It's easy for me to say I could sacrifice your guys' kid, but when it comes to my kid's the most important thing on this fucking planet. And that's what Ellie doesn't get from Joel's standpoint. Maybe he was kind of selfish, but you're my new daughter. It's like his daughter Sarah was the most important thing on earth. That matters more than anything else.
Thank you for arguing the point that Ripley should have left Newt behind and saved her ass. Aliens. Thank you so much for firming up my opinion on that one. Paul, additional thoughts?
Well, I just want to say that Ellie is projecting. Now, not a lot of people know the concept of psychological projection. You call someone an asshole, but really it's you that's the asshole. Oh, you're so selfish. No, man. You're the person saying it is selfish.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, like I don't know what it is, but at the end of the episode, when she's all like crying and whatever, she looked CGI. Did anybody else catch that?
They probably did.
Probably you mean in the rain when she's crying?
It's
I think he means on the porch.
On the porch.
On the porch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wouldn't surprise me.
She just looks CGI or a little like claymation. I don't know what it is, but that didn't look authentic to me. Anyway, yeah. All the scenes with Pedro were pretty good. This show suffers from way too slow moments, so I kept fast forwarding through it because I'm like, well, nothing's happening on screen. Forward. So yeah, just like I just stayed with the dialogue. Well, I also, when I sent you guys the message, oh, this thing's an hour long. I only had like 40 minutes to watch it. So, and that's pushing it. That's why I'm so late. So yeah, I mean, this episode easily could have been 45 minutes and accomplish the same. Oh, one thing I do like is what's his name? Joe Pantoliano, Ralphie from The Sopranos.
Cypher.
Cypher, yeah.
Joey Pants.
I always liked that guy, man. So whenever he pops on screen, whenever, like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, he was great. He was a great little cameo tonight or the other night.
I would actually agree with that. Absolutely. The only thing that actually kind of like bothered me a little bit is the end of it. Because again, we're getting the dynamic and hell chat and hell everybody, on the panel. Sorry. I had a friend, maybe some of you guys know Vets talking and stuff like that. He's like, hey man, he's like, I'm doing a thing kicking off at 6, for the first time in a while. You want to come on? I'm like, yeah, I'll stop by. So anyway, I knew there was a lot of filler in the beginning, but my problem with this scene, I think he did incredible. And then all of a sudden he's like, I hope you do better than I do. Right. Talking about you're a better dad than I am. Right. Because he's trying to be a better dad than his dad was. He walks into the door and I'm like, you hear a door open. And I'm like, as he walks away, I'm like, please don't do it. Please don't do it. Because I was really worried they were going to do the drunken alcoholic police officer dad or husband that beats his wife and his kids. He walks away. You hear the door open. You don't know if it's the front door or if it's the door to Joel and his brother, Tommy's room. And I half expected to maybe hear maybe a whipping of Tommy or something like that, a kid scream, a young boy scream. They didn't do that. So I actually kind of appreciated that, but they also left it loose enough, in my opinion, that I don't know what it still kind of feels like they were insinuating the bad cop trope. And I think it's a little old, in my opinion. That's just me.
I didn't really get that.
Okay. Oh, hey, it's fair. What do you guys think?
Initially this episode, overall this episode, I think, has really good emotional moments. And even as somebody who doesn't have kids, I have a relationship with my dad. I'm his firstborn. I'm his daughter. So like, I feel I feel that kind of bondship that they have. And Pedro does definitely carry this episode entirely. The problem I have is it's too late, in my opinion. This would have been better as the episode maybe right after Joel's death, or maybe before, some way, write it or stuff. I think this is just a little too late. I think this is just filling in space so they can have a cliffhanger of an ending for this season, and then we get into Abby's story. So we never go back to the end. This is what's going to happen. I'll tell you, this is exactly what's going to happen. We're going to get a cliffhanger tomorrow. We're not even going to see the cliffhanger resolved until season 4, because Abby is just going to be the entire season 3. We might get a little bit of it towards the end of that season 3, and then we won't know what happens from season 2 to until season 4.
Do you think that HBO has, do you think they can afford to do that at this point with as much as dropped?
I don't. They're talking about that season 3 is already written as Abby's story.
Yeah,
I'll be surprised if they continue to say this is greenlit. By the viewership's awful on it.
Yeah,
nobody's caring about this show anymore. And now summer is about to hit too. There's not gonna be anybody replaying this show, watching this throughout the summer.
I think after the first season, I think they pulled an Amazon, and I think they greenlit season 2, 3, 4. And I think 3 and 4 are probably going to be half seasons, if you want my honest opinion. And they're going to try to, or maybe like 2/3 seasons is a better way to put it. So you're not spending the full entire money for a whole entire season, but you're still getting a little bit of a push. But the fact that season 3 has already been technically greenlit makes me think that they greenlit it for a certain budget to say, okay, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're done. And
well, they could also go. So HBO could approach them for season 3 and go, hey, listen, viewership for season 2 wasn't that great. We're not going to be greenlighting you for season 4. You're going to have season 3 to end, to recap this. So maybe the first half of season 3, the first couple episodes will be Abby's story, and then they'll end the last 3, for the big show off or something to that
Do we
extent.
know?
In a sense, they've written themselves into a corner of mess, I think.
Oh,
with this.
absolutely. Because I think that literally all of us on this panel and everybody that was talking about this, it's like going, and I was a big advocate of this, you know, after the actual video game came out. I'm like, when I found out about the TV show, I'm like, going, do it. I'm like, just do it. And everybody knew what I was talking about that actually had, you know, known about the game. I'm like, do it in season 2. Do it in season 2. I didn't think they would do it in season 2, but they did it season 2, episode 2, and they did it. And I was like, okay. I figured the end of season 3, they would do it, or and then they would have 4 and it'd be done.
I don't think they had a choice. I think they had to. I agree that it might have been prolonged a little bit, and of course, you're talking about Joel's death. Yeah, I don't think it's a spoiler at this point.
No,
I think they could have done it, but it and maybe that would have been even better. I have no idea. It certainly couldn't have been much worse, but they were always going to do that. I don't think Druckmann was going to backpedal on that.
No, he was never going to backpedal.
I
just figured they would have pushed it out because you
They
did have to
could've.
look. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not a big massive Pedro Pascal fan, but he is a draw. That's just the way it is. He's not a massive movie star or television star, but he is a draw for the show. And when you did what you did, you saw the reactions from what I call the normies who didn't know what the story was. They've never played the video games, and they were pissed off. Like the video game players were pissed off. They're like, you did who said who to what now? Now they softened it because again, Abby is probably a little bit more likable of a character with the actress. Should have been better as Ellie, but that's a different story. But you have Bella Ramsey trying to front and center this show.
Yeah. We keep coming back to that
giant.
There's no I agree. There's no scenario in which whether you like the show, whether you don't like the show, whether you like the game or you didn't like the game, or you liked season 2 or you liked the second game, no matter what the situation is, everybody's in the agreement, unless they're virtue signaling, that Bella Ramsey is woefully out of her depth and she can't carry the weight of something like this, especially and including the fact that it's a controversial heavy topic. So it's like one thing if it was just like a heavy show, whatever, but then on top of that, they've got this controversy with the fact that they kill off the main character and yada, yada, yada. So then she really has to get a lot of weight put on her. And, game version Ellie, right, wrong, or indifferent, whatever you think, at least she could handle the weight of that throughout the rest of the narrative. And had we had somebody like Kaylee Spaney, maybe she could have handled the rest of it. But I mean, Bella Ramsey, she's just being crushed under it, and everything that she's doing, from the myopic look that she gives to the camera to the like, as Nadia pointed out, her lack of ability to emote, all of these things, and they just bring more light onto the fact that she is woefully miscast in this. So and again, even this episode, go ahead, Nadia.
I also thought for a while, I was like, well, maybe what they could have done was take these flashbacks, these important birthdays, and dive a little bit more into that relationship the first half of this season, and then bring Joel's death in on the better end, right? Mm-hmm. To give Bella a little bit more time to be seasoned around seasoned actors. But I even thought, even today, I was like, I don't even think that would have mattered at that point. I don't think so. I think I agree with you, Toxic. I think she's just wrongly casted. It's just not meant for. This is not a role meant for her. And I wish people would stop saying, "Oh, you believe that because she's non-bi." I'm like, I liked her in Game of Thrones. I think there are roles for her as she seasons herself and practices and knows her craft that she'll come across that are for her. But Ellie is not for her.
She
very
needs
strong actors for the.
This is what she needs to do. Like, just straight up, this is a solution to her problem. She needs to go and do a stage play, or at least a couple, maybe 2 or 3 on Broadway, because that market is fucking relentless. They will cut you, and you'll learn by fire.
I don't think she's got, I mean, I don't disagree with the premise of what you're saying, but I don't think she's got the chops to do that. I think
If she
maybe
hones
not.
it in,
But
if she hones it in, I mean, I don't think we all can say that she's a bad actress until we see her in other roles, right? Other than Game of Thrones, she was so young for that. That's the one role everybody kind of circles back onto for her.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. The thing is, like, we don't live in that kind of world. We used to live in that kind of world. When Jake Lloyd was going yippee in episode 1 and he was a terrible actor, people were like, "You're a terrible actor. Stop acting. We don't like you." And that was it. And he just went and did a bunch of meth and did a bunch of gear, and he's like, you know, this huge whatever it is that he does. And you know, and then when
didn't
people
he beat his wife?
Yeah. And then when they said that about Hayden Christensen, he took a you know, he's like, okay, I did one good movie and it wasn't Star Wars and this is it and I suck. And he just dialed, and then he came back 30 years later to be like, you know, oh, look how great I am because things suck now in Star Wars and stuff like that. But you used to be able to just say, you're a bad actor. You're a bad actress. Stop doing what you're doing. You got Keanu Reeves, horrible actor in some of the best movies of all time because he's wait,
Dracula.
Hard disagree. Hard disagree.
Well,
Keanu Reeves.
I actually agree with you on
Let me finish. Let me finish. He's a horrible actor objectively, but he's a wonderful person, and he has a niche ability to dive into an action role like The Matrix and the John Wick's movies, and he's 100% believable in those because that dude can bang. I've seen the stuff, the training videos.
Has never seen Lake House. Apparently, he's never seen the
exactly.
Lake House.
Exactly, and Bill and Ted, and
Well,
Little Buddha.
I wouldn't count Bill and Ted on that.
Are you really trying to give Bill and Ted as an example of why Keanu Reeves is a great?
No, dude. What about? Wasn't he in like? He's a classically trained actor. He was in a Shakespearean adaptation in a movie. I forget which movie, but it was there. He was wasn't he in like one of the vampire movies from like the early 90s?
No, he didn't learn how to act like he could shoot. He learned to be a shooter.
You're totally wrong on his acting ability.
Really?
Totally
I don't know,
wrong.
Paul. Did you see Dracula? Did you see him in Dracula?
That's what he's talking. He was just talking about Dracula. That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
He's horrible in it.
Yeah.
He is the worst part. He takes you out of it entirely.
Listen, I love Keanu Reeves. I love Keanu Reeves movies, and I love Keanu Reeves. However, you have to accept when you watch a Keanu Reeves movies that you're watching Keanu Reeves and you liking it because you like him, not because he's a great thespian. I'm a lawyer. I win. That's what I do.
That's a great role. I thought he was fucking fantastic in that.
Look, I love me some Keanu Reeves.
I will go to. I will.
Hold on. Now, whatever your crime is, that's okay because it's cool now. Speed.
That's actually really good, dude. I gotta be
honest. That actually is good because that's LA accent.
I found out he's really been shellacking the salami, and I said that's okay. That's what little dudes do. Parenthood. Hold on, I'm not done.
He's like, I got more. Hold on, wait a minute.
I am a fucking FBI agent.
Different strokes for different folks.
No, dude, it's a
my whole point on this is that we've only seen her in one other fucking role, and she was a child at that time. She's getting in adulthood. She's wrongly casted for this, but I don't think we can judge her overall on her acting skills until we see her
Agreed.
do something else. Granted, if she does the next thing and it fucking sucks, then that's her. Like, to me, Julia Garner is a great example of this. Julia Garner can act outside of Ozarks, so
she's not.
But it's okay.
She's not going to grow as an actress.
I want to,
because she doesn't have to, because the current climate that we have right now says you are identified by what your sexuality is. You're identified by whatever level of the spectrum you are. She has embraced that. She has drank the Kool-Aid. She is never going to go any farther than what she is, because in her mind, and it is co-opted, it's on TikTok, it's on Instagram, it's on all that stuff, where they're like, she represents us because she's a they, them, these are, blah, 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 blah. She's great because she's on the spectrum just like I am, you know, blah, blah. She identifies herself.
I think Hollywood is shifting a little bit, to be honest. And in my opinion, I think people are allowed redemption stories, and who knows?
Agreed.
She's how old is she? She's not her
She's
frontal
like
lobe is not even
22.
yeah, like
Hmm.
complete. She's not even
I
a
think she's
full
older than
adult
Rachel
yet.
Zegler, but not by much.
Yeah, she's not a full adult yet. So like I'm willing to give the benefit of doubt, but
Yeah.
to bring it back to The
Well,
Last of Us, I think it's agreement that she is wrongly casted for the role of Ellie. It's
yeah.
just how it is. She's not seasoned enough to hold this through on the counterpart of what's her name who plays Abby, who's had multiple roles leading up
Caitlin
to this
Dever.
point and has honed her craft.
Which is,
Now with this,
she's incredible, by the way. Good
yeah,
God, she's good.
Paul, I had to mute you because I don't know what you were doing. So you're like ordering or something.
So let me,
Oh
So I muted
shit! Did you
I
hear
muted
that
it before
phone
I get
call?
to far. Yeah, I muted it.
Fuck.
dude,
I muted
like
it real
seriously,
fast.
I
who's
thought
who's
I muted
Steven?
it.
Who's Steven? Why do you talk to him like that?
Wait, what?
I don't know. I'm just fucking sorry. No, let me
We're-
try to bring it back a little full circle. I actually want to give Bella Ramsey a little bit of credit. There's one scene that I think she did incredibly well, and it's when she is basically under the influence of basically pills, right? She's for I can't remember what the reason was because
When she burnt her arm.
yes, thank you, when she burned her arm. So that scene between her and Pedro Pascal is incredibly good, in my opinion. It's she seems very
Buy that.
vulnerable.
I'll buy that.
She seems like a young girl who's never experienced maybe being drunk or under the influence of a narcotic, and she's kind of overly sweet. She's a little goofy and stuff like that. And Pedro Pascal steps in to that father role incredibly well. I think it is one of the best scenes by far of this episode, and there are some good scenes, and I will admit this because, again, I don't think Joel did anything wrong in the game, in the show, because quite frankly, we come from a community of people that talk about superheroes and stuff like that. It's an ugly truth, and I think The Last of Us Part 1 and 2 gets it right. Sometimes doing the right thing for somebody you love so much will make them hate you for the rest of their life. It sucks because they don't see it. Yeah. They're inside of that, and they don't understand where or how to get out of it. And they're like fighting a paper bag, and you have to be the one to rip the paper bag off. And even though it's painful and they may fucking hate you, this episode displays that very well, because that's what Joel did. Ellie doesn't agree at all with what he did. Oh. She's like, I may never forgive you, but she's like, I'd like to try.
I mean, that was pretty mature for her at her age, the character that she's playing.
Yeah.
As someone who is a former teenage daughter to a dad, and mind you, my dad raised me by himself. Like, my sisters lived with my mother. They were raised by my mother. I lived with my dad by myself, and my dad raised me all my adolescence, and it very much so. You could do the most horrible thing, and your teenager will think like you are the demon, literally. So,
but it's still a thing in today's world. There are people that whether they're family members or friends or a girlfriend or a wife or something like that, they get into something, they don't see a way out, and they're drowning and they don't see it, and they're willing to drown, and you're like, I see it, and I'm gonna blow the lid off all of this. And you know what? It's like, I'm doing it because I love you, and you're probably going to hate me for the rest of your life. And that's what Joel did. And I think this episode really portrays that. And I'm really sorry that I'm wearing my kind of like my political hat. So don't mind the MAGA.
You're fine. You're fine.
I'll change the hat here real quick. But this is the real thing, and this is one of the things that I think the superhero genre in general, that this actually gets right. Doing something for somebody else in their best interest, it may save their life, and you do it because it's going to save their life, and you know it will, but they may fucking hate you forever. And as somebody who's done that, it's the most gut-wrenching, awful thing in the world. So well, I think this episode really does that well. The other things I can do without, but I'm going to take the hat off because this is not a political stream.
You're
so
good.
I'll be right back.
You're good. So we're about an hour into the stream. We haven't even talked about the fucking episode. So guess what I did? For this episode, I broke it down on 6 important moments. throughout the episode. So we don't have to worry about going scene by scene. So the first important moment is the 1983 prologue that we see right here, Joel's childhood. This episode opens up with a new scene showing Joel and Tommy as kids. Joel taking the blame for Tommy's drug-related fight to shield them from their father's abuse, played by the great Tony Dalton. I hope I got that right. Yeah.
Timothy? Or
Timothy Dalton? No, it's...
No.
Timothy Dalton is a great actor.
Narcos. He's Narcos.
No.
Oh, that guy.
I was right. Tony Dalton.
Okay, but there's a very good actor called Timothy
I know
Dalton.
Timothy Dalton. He was in...
Okay.
Yeah. This
He
establishes...
was Bond.
He was also in Penny Dreadful. This establishes Joel's protective instincts and the generational trauma that shapes his parenting of Ellie. So we all talked about, I hope you do better than me kind of deal, alluding to that their father might be an alcoholic, might be abusive in that sense, and his father learning from his father, and each generation trying to shape a better world for the next one coming in. I like this. I thought this was pretty interesting, but I don't think in the game they don't really flash back to Joel's childhood.
No, this never happens at all.
Okay. So before I move on to the next important moment, anybody else have any additional things to add about the prologue here?
I do, but it's going to work
the year
better
of my birth. So I loved it.
It'll work better if I do the whole thing at once instead of bit by bit.
So, like a big final thoughts?
Yeah, like a closing argument, maybe.
Oh, all right, fine.
No, I thought it was a great scenario. It's in the whole boy, this hit me hard. Where his dad, he just says to him, he's like, "Well, you've hit us." He's like, "Yeah, but I never hit you like that." Like how his own father broke his fucking jaw, and it's every generation softer. Like my dad would say, Chris, back in the 50s, the whole hey, if you're bad, his grandparents would say, go outside, and you had to fucking take a tree branch and take a fucking whatever, take your own branch out. And I was like, well, Dad, what happens if you eat a small branch? Okay, then grandpa gets the biggest branch there and whoops your ass even fucking harder. And every generation is softer. He's like, I've been hard on you, Joe, you and Tommy, but compared to my father, I'm nothing. And hopefully it gets better every generation. Yeah. So, and I like the fact they're showing Joe wasn't a fucking monster. Joe's a good father. And this is what sucks is that the game didn't do this, which it should have. This is what Ellie, and it sucks that Joe didn't have these kind of conversations with Ellie, because Ellie, this is why I'm so hard on you for, because you don't understand what I've been through, what my father's been through, like how important you are, how I've already fucking lost a daughter. I'm not going to lose a second daughter based on a what if cure, because again, in the first game, the cure was never confirmed. It all was Joe. We may find a cure, not guaranteed, but we might possibly find a cure. Also, the Fireflies, we're going to control it. Also, you have no say in the matter. So we're just going to take a 12-year-old fucking girl, put her on under anesthesia, and just kill her because maybe.
Yep. Yeah. Well, the next important moment in this episode is Ellie's 15th birthday. Now, again, they frame this episode based off Ellie's birthday leading up to Joel's death and the conversation on the porch prior to that. Her 15th birthday, Joel gives Ellie a custom guitar with a moth, sings Pearl's Jam Future Days. There's tender moments that strengthen their bond here. The reason why her arm is wrapped up is that she purposely burned herself so that she could cover up the bite marks, so that she didn't have to explain that she was the scar from it, that she's immune, and be able to wear short sleeves again and stuff. Joel getting a guitar, getting a cake, trading some Legos in for a vanilla cake that spells Eli instead of Ellie on it. So the song is important because that's the song Ellie struggles to sing in the same song in episode 5, hinting at her grief. So I thought this was very nice. I thought this was exactly what Joel and Ellie was to me in season 1. Very much the bond between father and daughter here. Earlier versions, you could just say this.
Well, I think it's behind the scenes. That's why he didn't say it.
I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't want to interrupt anybody talking.
It's okay. Early versions of the opening scenes include a more violent Javier, but writers found it more interesting to show him as complicated. Joel tell Ellie he thinks they could have used her to make a cure, but it would have cost her life. Yep.
And
The first game, the players find a tape recording of Dr. Anderson's voice recordings. On it, he states that even though he has found a few immune patients, he still has not come up with a cure yet.
Yeah.
So,
So
go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was just going to say, and this is what I was alluding to. This is the perfect scene between Pedro Pascal, and I think he leads the scene extremely well, incredibly well.
Yes.
It might be one of the breakout moments, or if not the breakout moment of the whole entire season. Even his death was just. It wasn't
disrespectful of this episode.
Yeah, it wasn't carried out well, in my opinion. I think Pedro Pascal did the best he could with what he had. Again, he's died in a show before, so I mean, this one's of course not as violent. But I think Bella Ramsey, I don't know, she tapped into something that maybe from her childhood, because she actually stood out to me as well as shining in this moment of, after burning her arm and the painkillers and stuff like that. So this is the best scene of the whole entire season, in my opinion. So, bye, Rachel. Sorry. But yeah, it's
This is a great narrative device to utilize, the going back in time and moving the narrative forward to catch up to where you are in media res, or in the middle of things, so to speak. I use this to great extent in my book so that you can see my main protagonist. You get to understand why he is the way that he is in little like vignettes like this, just and the way they structure it, because we know from the outset that they've been in this what are they in, Wyoming, or where they
Jackson, Wyoming. Yeah.
Jackson. So the Jackson compound, or whatever you want to call it, commune, whatever. So we know at the beginning of the season that they've been there for 5 years post the end of season 1. And what this allows us to do is go back and move the narrative forward to kind of fill in those gaps a little bit and show us this progression of, hey, kiddo, everything's, rosy for the first few birthdays. Yeah. And then by birthday 4, it kind of goes off of the rails. And then it brings us into the narrative in which we see in the beginning. So I do like it. It's a little wrenching because where it's going. That they're not going to flash back to 5 perfect birthdays. We're going to see a couple good ones, and then we're going to see one iffy one, and then we're going to see something bad. And that's exactly what they give you. I mean, it's coming, but it's like a train wreck you kind of can't look away from. I do like adorable Bella in the stuff with the cake, the stuff with the being enraptured by his horrible singing. Right. The stuff with
did fast forward through the singing.
Yeah, the stuff with the
and hers previously.
The museum, doing the space shuttle stuff, because that's her
was awesome.
Dream to be an astronaut. All of these things, are great for the structural narrative of it, and kind of lends weight to what she considers to be a betrayal and what he considers to be a big failure later on in the rest of the episode. And it kind of circles back. I do agree with whoever it was that said we could have had this in episode 2 or 3. I agree. I think
a little too late.
Yeah, a little too little too late. No, I definitely agree with that. Had we had this earlier, then maybe we could pay more attention to Jeffrey Wright and his, pots and pans machinations with the shiver people with the cut faces and stuff, like we have all these loose threads, and now we're bringing the narrative back to what people really care about when they either play the game or watch the show, which is Joel and Ellie. I mean, that's the whole point.
Dynamic. Yeah.
Well, it would have been interesting if this season they also could have done, again, they could have done the background between these two, but then spice in a little bit of the what are they called? The wolf versus the Sephiroths. What are they called?
Seraphites.
Seraphites.
Thank you. Like, maybe build on that, where we would get more Jeffrey Wright, where we would get, like, contrast it to these happy years with Joel and Ellie, to the tension building up between Wolf and the cult, and then the gasket blows off on everything. Joel dies. There's a war going on. There's a revenge tale.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be a writer. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well, maybe
You'd be
maybe
better than the
Joel
writers
should
at
have fired
this. So
us,
yes.
You know, I mean,
yes.
no.
So the next important moment, as Toxic was talking about, is Ellie's 16th birthday, which is the museum scene.
Which
Joel,
just happens in the game too.
that's what I was watching the behind the scenes for.
Yeah.
That they actually shot the astronaut scene for the game. Like they created that scene for the game first for the second game, and that was the first thing that they like loaded up to show the HBO execs, and they're like, we need this definitely in the show, because at the time the show was already greenlit to be season 1 at least before the second game. Like HBO already had the rights. I'm kind of so Joel surprises Ellie with a trip to an abandoned museum, featuring a T-Rex statue, Apollo 15 capsule. Ellie, an astronomy enthusiast, experience a simulated space launch, which is similar in the game. A joyful moment that showcases their closeness, what Joel would do for the person he loves the most, which is his daughter. However, seeing fireflies on the walk home reminds Ellie of her lost purpose, foreshadowing tension. Fun fact, the hallway scene where they're walking in, where it's all the stars, I guess they had actually put stars and it wasn't showing up with the lighting. It was actually really hard to film that. So they got dollar store rhinestones and put a bunch of those are all rhinestones to reflect the light in that scene. I thought that was pretty cool.
I did
That
not
was
know
pretty
that.
cool. Yeah. Watch the behind the scenes.
I can barely watch the show, but sure. No, I agree. This is a phenomenal moment. Because again, it shows that Joel has done the right thing pretty much throughout all of this, whether you agree with him or not. At the end of the last game, or the last season or the last game, Joel did it the right way for the right reasons. And quite frankly, Ellie doesn't understand that. But in this moment, she doesn't care. She's just a 16-year-old kid who has dreams, and he puts that on display. And the interactions between these two, even though I don't think Bella Ramsey is right for the role, I think she shines in this episode more than she has previously. Because it's also a flashback. It's nothing but flashback for the most part, and it's a feel good kind of thing. And I think that makes the show more powerful because, of course, we all know Joel's dead. And that, Ellie is trying to move on after that, but she's not doing it well because, of course, when Joel was alive, she wasn't dealing with that well. And it kind of speaks to the inner conflict in a lot of people of, Ellie thinks that she had this great purpose to sacrifice herself for the greater good of probably nothing was going to happen and she would just be dead. And Joel's like, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard, and I'm not gonna go with that because, it just, there was nobody but you. It was you. There were no immune people. It was immune you, and I think that the gravity at the end of all of this, it really weighs hard because he's like, again, she's so angry and she may even somewhat hate him, but she still tries to find it to where she's like, I want to try to forgive you. And it's worded perfectly in my opinion too. She's like, I don't know if I can ever forgive you. And then there's like that pause, and it's like, but I want to try to. And go ahead.
We'll get to that scene because that's
no, I know.
up.
I'm sorry. I keep just like jumping forward.
It's all good. It's all good. Blue, this is very much in the game, right?
Yes.
The astronaut scene, the T-Rex, the whole 9 years, this whole birthday.
Mhm.
Is this also a flashback in the game?
Yes.
Then okay.
Yeah.
Playable flashback.
That's what I said. People are so pissed off because when Joel basically, just like in the show, he dies in the first hour, and you're like, you get all this stuff later on. But like from a narrative standpoint, this should have been first. That way, when Joel dies, it would have had like less of that shock value. But it's it's just showing more of the bond between Ellie and Joel. That's why fans are like, when he first gets killed, that why is she being such a bitch to him for? Because he did one mistake, and like Ryan was saying, it's like, whether you like it or dislike it, but this is the man he is, and also he softened up, and this is the bond between Joel and Ellie. We've seen why he loves her as a daughter. She should be loving him as a father, and the way she's just being, and that's why the second game before he dies, she's treating him like just like such like shit, and like this is a good man who's been taking care of you, and you're treating this guy like total fucking garbage. And now the second game just loves to, even the show in some ways too. Joel's crying now. He's apologizing, they're retconning his motivations. Boy, some reason they just hate Joel all of a sudden in this entire game and TV show.
Maybe because Neil Druckmann hates him.
Apparently.
Yeah, well, I think it's a little bit of self-hatred in that, but again, the thing, yes, and they're trying to retcon it a little bit as like he's sorry for what he did. No, is somebody who has done something for somebody else, because I knew there's the possibility that it was either this or I say, you don't do anything or you do something to save their life, and they may hate you forever. You do it because you love them. And you do it, and you do it without a question. I would do it again.
Yeah.
I'd do it 100,000 times over.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one of those things, and so I don't like the retconning of it. But the thing, but that's also why it's also such a powerful message, is because you don't see it as much anymore. They did cover it. I don't think they covered it well, but real sacrifice has real consequences. And he did it. Joel did everything for the right reasons. And Abby's motivation, I get Abby's motivation. I don't like her. It doesn't make me want to play her in a video game ever.
Yeah.
It makes me want her to basically get a little bit under the chin here. But so at least they're trying to build that relationship and trying to get people to be enveloped by it and maybe warm up to it. And
speaking of the sacrifice,
Abby is just like Joel, though. Abby and Joel and Ellie, it's a circle of revenge for all of them. In a sense, it's the nonstop. Like Joel ends up murdering Abby's father, who then Abby murders Joel. Then, and granted, I didn't play the game. I don't know how it ends, but Ellie now needs to go after Abby. So it's just a countless circle of violence happening.
It is, yeah. And Joel was wrong in a sense. He was wrong. He didn't need to basically off everybody. He did because he was angry. And that's
they would have went after him anyway, or they would have went back after Ellie.
They were
anyway.
gonna,
no, 100%. I'm not disagreeing with that. But the thing is, though, is that he made a choice in the moment that he took all these lives to save her. But the thing is, though, is that there's always that moral question. Would they have come after you? Did you have to kill everybody? And that's something that weighs on Joel's conscience the whole entire time. And you see it throughout the whole entire dispute of everything underlying. So that's why Ellie's anger is like, you did this horrible thing. It's like, do you not think he doesn't know what he did? Like, he lives that every day.
It might weigh on him, but I think it also helped him made a decision with Eugene's death that we'll get to after the next birthday. But I think it weighs on him. But again, I'm not a father. Those of you that are fathers on the panel, you understand. Like, you do, like you said earlier, you do anything for your kid. Like, your kid that's it. That's the only person in the world to you. It doesn't matter hundreds of kids or people that might survive from their disease and stuff. You would always go back and sacrifice everybody else for your child. And I get it. I get it because I see how my parents are. So
speaking of sacrifice, and I know I'm not making this up because I do remember this distinctly from the first game. When Joel breaks into the hospital and they're about to operate on Ellie, I want to say that she's not actually immune. It's just like stuck and not proceeding or something.
Yeah.
But she's not actually immune.
Yeah. So,
or like, you cannot derive immunity from whatever
what's happening in her brain.
Her brain,
so,
right?
Yeah, right. I think it's she's not immune. Basically it's not progressing. She is infected. 100%. She's infected, right. And that's why they have to hide the mark. And then of course in this episode she burns herself to kind of hide it. She's not immune. It's just not progressing, and they don't know why. The Fireflies are saying.
Well, no, they do know why. They do. They're pretty clear about that. Yeah, they were pretty clear about that. So just so that we don't have to do a whole bunch of housekeeping and back and forth. So, and this is very well established. Blue, if I start straying and I'm wrong, please feel free to stop me. But so the thing about it is, the cordyceps are the way in which it was like a 1 in a million chance that Ellie's mom was able to save her in the way that she did. It could have gone wrong a million other ways, but just because of that 1 in a million shot where just enough of the infection got to her before it overtook her, the cordyceps in Ellie's brain thinks that she is cordyceps. That's why it doesn't do anything. And conversely, the reason why this cure would not work, I don't care who tries to retcon what or change whatever, the reason why it would never have worked had they tried to do it, and all they would have accomplished is a dead Ellie, is because, one, you have Fireflies. They are a terrorist group, according to Fedra. You think that Fedra is going to just go, oh yeah, we'll take your magic cure? And even if they did, even if they could manage to replicate it, how could they replicate it on a wholesale thing? And even if they could, let's assume that the cure would work just for a second, which, by the way, there's no evidence that it would have. Even if they could have, how would they, on a grand scale, replicate it to give it to every remaining surviving living person? Because there's no way Fedra would go for it, and there's no way that the Fireflies had the kind of infrastructure in order to get that out. And there's no reason why they would even include, because if they knew they had a cure, they'd probably be like, fuck Fedra, let you guys die, we'll keep the cure to ourselves. Look at 2020 here, where we have a pandemic going on. We can't get people to agree on any of that stuff, and we have all of the infrastructure and all of this money, and we only had a disease that was 0.1% fatality, or whatever you want to call it. So there was no way this was going to work. Joel understood that. At least game Joel did, and season 1 Joel did. So I'm not really sure this retconning thing that's going on now, where Joel just assumes. Now, maybe it was just easier for him to just say in the moment, yeah, maybe there was a cure or whatever, instead of trying to waffle because he had already been caught in so many lies and she was already upset. I mean, I don't think that's a good strategy, but whatever. But I mean, there was no cure, and there was no way that cure, even if it was 100% viable, was going to be accepted by everybody. No, and even if it was, all that cure does is stop you from getting infected. It doesn't stop a monster or clicker from chewing you up and ripping you to pieces. That all it does is, if you get bit and you don't get bit so bad that they've killed you, that you might survive. But there's no guarantee to any of that. So that's where I come out on that.
Yeah, right, I think we've done enough circling around on if Joel doesn't back and forth about this conversation from season 1. We are now in season 2 on this episode. So I get it. It plays into the fact of the end of the episode where he's like, I would do it again 100. We keep circling back to that. And we've all had that discussion of, like, we understand from Joel's perspective. He's a father at this point, right? He sees Ellie as his child. He's going to do whatever he wants. He's going to do whatever it takes to protect her. And that's a hard decision people have to make. And I understand some of you as fathers on the panel, you get it. You would sacrifice the world for your child. And we keep circling back on it. Let's move forward. All right. Let's move forward. Let's get through this episode. So the next important scene in this is Ellie's 17th birthday. So this is where the tattoo and tension happens. Joel finds Ellie smoking weed, getting a tattoo to cover up her bite mark, also getting it down with the tattoo artist who's
you're having sex.
Bow bow.
He's discomfort reveals like subtle, realistic, maybe homophobic reaction. But again, Joel's from a different era, different time, right? We got to look at it at this point. A departure from the game's more accepting Joel, adding a complexity to his character. I don't think it has complexity because it kind of brushes it off anyway after everything cools down. To me, it just read as you're a dad and you walk in on your 17-year-old daughter who, used to be like the apple of your eye, who's smoking weed and doing adult things, and now she's coming off as an adult. So I think it was more the shock factor there.
I did really like the line. I like the line in his delivery of it, of going, we got to do all the teenage shit all at once.
Yeah. So and we also have to look at it. This is not a normal upbringing, right? Yes, it's kind of set in a normal upbringing. She has a house, her own room and such. But as she said later, They gave them this house. Joel doesn't own anything. Nobody owns anything in Jacksonville. You know, this is not normal time. So she didn't have a normal
Here's the hidden undertone of that exact line.
Communism?
You will own nothing and be
And you
happy.
will-
No, that's not communism. They're trying to institute neo-feudalism.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I got the same thing. Basically, you will own nothing, and you will, yeah.
And
I didn't pick up on that. I picked up on it.
Oh,
as,
I
like,
did.
It's post-apocalyptic. People are trying to survive. Money doesn't mean anything at this point. They're just trying to
I
bring
just
order
took it as
to
her
their
being
little.
a 17-year-old brat trying to throw. I mean, I have a 17-year-old. I have had a 17-year-old daughter and a 3 17-year-old sons, and they just want to take little cheap shots at you.
Yeah, I do this. Should I do the same thing to my dad nowadays?
Haram,
Call
haram.
Nadia, call your dad after this and apologize.
Yeah, you apologize
No!
to your father.
No, but I'm gonna see him in 2 weeks, so he's happy about that. But yeah, no, it's just like I understand there could be subtle tones. Everything could have subtle tones into it. I just see this as a 17-year-old not having a normal childhood, doesn't have movies to go to, mall to go to. It doesn't even have social media, guys. Like how kids nowadays smoking weed, getting just doing the little things that kind of are adventurous, right? That she can in this community.
I mean, and previously her outing, and of course they revisit it in this, is going to the community hall. Her and I can't remember her name, by the way. She gets drunk. Yeah, Dina, thank you. She gets drunk. They're dancing. They start kissing a little bit, and everybody's like, and the one dude's like, and it's like, I'm right. But at the same time, like, could you imagine? Because there's no malls anymore. There's no movie theaters. Like, what do 17-year-old teenagers do? And I definitely do get that.
Get high, get tattoos, screw around with other.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're gonna do teenager things, and I do actually agree with the majority of what Nadia said. I didn't read a whole lot into it, but because maybe that little bit of a like culture backlash or whatever, that like you're like, oh, it's you'll own nothing and you'll be happy about it. I got that flash, so maybe that's not what they meant, but they did. If it was, they skated past it, in my opinion, really quickly.
But
I don't think we would be saying the same thing if this show came out in the 90s, early 2000s. Okay.
We wouldn't say it at all.
I don't. It's not even that.
We
it's
know
not
more
even
now.
if it's no. It's not even that we know more now. I don't think that's the premise of that. What they're trying to establish here in a post-apocalyptic world, Paul.
Yeah,
okay?
we all have a little bit of a little bit of culture shock.
A lot of propaganda in everything we watch.
Yeah, there is, and
but sometimes I think we also
that's
look
art. Art is subjective. All
That's
forms
true.
of art. So
That's true.
Different
strokes for different folks.
For different folks. So this
Don't
is
argue with
also
the woman
moment,
off the cover. Damn.
This is the moment also where Ellie is starting to have that internal issue with herself of wondering what really happened in Salt Lake.
Mhm.
Like she pulls out a bunch of questions that she wants to ask Joel for her next birthday. We see that for the next one. But this is where we're starting to see the moths all drawn over. What is her purpose in life and such? She thinks she doesn't really have a purpose. And remember, Joel also, Gail gets included in this where Joel's like, what's with the moth kind of deal? And he thinks, oh, it must be like about change and growth. And then finally finds out it's about death. It's a visual about death. So this is starting to happen. But also she's going through teenage hormones right now too, on top of it. We all, and girls especially, we've all been through this phase. We've all been through this phase. So one way or another.
I think girls probably got it worse, just in my honest opinion.
We mature faster than you guys, so we do have it worse.
Yeah, but you also get the worst end of the stick. I'm just gonna say. And any guy who's going, I don't know about that. Like, yeah.
I'm not saying Bella earns any leeway on it, Zax. I'm just saying she's just the character of Ellie is a teenager. That's what I'm saying. So fast forward another year. This is her
2 years.
18th birthday.
19th.
Eugene.
Yeah,
is it 2 years?
I believe this was the 19th. Yeah,
19th birthday. Okay, so on Ellie's first patrol, which this is the birthday gift from Joel, They encounter Eugene and Bitten pleading to see his wife Gail. Ellie advocates for mercy, but Joel kills Eugene after taking him to a lake, offering a moment of peace by encouraging to picture his wife Gail, who's played by Catherine O'Hare. Ellie's horror at Joel's lie to Gail about Eugene's fate confirms her suspicion about his deceit regarding the Fireflies deepening their rift. Now, the one thing I want to say about this, fuck Ellie for this, not because of Joel. That's a whole bag on its own. But this woman just found out her husband is dead, is grieving, and you decide to basically narrate his death as this thing, instead of just maybe holding off, maybe letting her have some peace, knowing that he went brave out and stuff, letting her have that moment of grief and stuff instead of blurting all that out. So fuck Ellie for this. Is this a game? I have to know.
No, it isn't.
Game. Okay.
That's what I said, Nadia. For like the opening 5 minutes with their dad, with Joel and Tommy's dad, was awesome. But this shit wasn't in the game that they added. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So it's
in
like
the game, her revelation comes about going back to Salt Lake and seeing the aftermath, and that just wasn't feasible. I think this is a much again, I agree. Fuck Ellie for the way she handled it, but I think this is a much better way to have that revelation come to her.
And I think they're trying to add a lot of context that is not, of course, attached to the game. They're trying to add context because Neil Druckmann basically is trying to save his skinny dumbass after the massive. And again, The Last of Us 2 was a massive flop. Look, we can debate semantics. It sold 10 million copies opening weekend, and it's probably grossed another 2 million since the sale. What's up, Roman? How you doing, buddy? So she's a potato. So no, I absolutely agree with that. The hell with this scene, because it was garbage. It just vilifies Joel more.
Well, the scene's not garbage. The scene is
The way it plays out is garbage, and it's added context that, quite frankly, is manipulating the original story, in my opinion.
But not in the way that you think it is. Not in the way that you think it is, because I can see how you can look at it at face value. Here's the thing, and I'll be as brief as possible. Ellie doesn't look at, she's very cherry picking with how she deals with this stuff. So this scene is really telling. This is the epiphany that I came to watching this a second time. Ellie doesn't look at things the same way that everybody else does. And not because she's a 19-year-old little know-it-all shit. She does it because she has a plot armor face card that no one else has. She can, like in this situation with what's his name here? Joey Pants. Eugene, thank you. He's bit. She wants to get him back in this idea. She's 19, so of course she's idealistic, right? If she was living in 2025 non-apocalyptic thing, she'd be free Palestine, and she'd be like, I stand with Ukraine, and all the other political bullshit. She'd be in some college, diking it out and doing all that kind of bullshit.
Yeah, she's 19.
Right. So she's idealistic. Joel is realistic. Joel sees Eugene Bitten as a threat. He's not sick right now, but he could turn. Everybody's body's different. He could turn at any moment. He understands that. Joel understands that premise. Ellie, because she's immune, she has this skewed version of how she sees the world. She sees the world certainly as dangerous and stuff like that, but because she's young and because she has this almost superpower in the zombie apocalypse where she's immune, she doesn't look at the threats the same way, because if she's on the horse with Eugene and he zombies out and bites her, it really doesn't amount to really all that much, except for more than just an inconvenience that she'll have to hide. So she has this luxury that literally nobody on earth has, and that's why she acts the way that she does. And this thing about Salt Lake City has been brewing in her for so long that when Joel does what he does, which I 100% agree with, by the way, she explodes, and she does it in the most nasty, selfish way possible. She even forgets she's on him about, I'm not your fucking daughter, I'm your partner. Okay, great. Well, guess what? You don't throw your partner under the bus. You don't disagree with your partner. If you're in combat, You know this, Ryan. If you're in combat, your partner does something, you're doing the same thing. I'm your back, you're my back. You go down, I go down. That's how it is. She forgot that part. She wanted to cherry pick and just have the adventurous part, but she forgot about the part where it is you back up your partner's play no matter what. That's why this scene happened. And I thought it was done
But what if
very
your
well.
partner's play is dumb? And it's going to get
Toxic,
you killed.
you bring a good point up too, because even in season 1, where she tried to save the kid by giving him her blood on his bite mark and stuff, she has a very immature viewing of the world when it comes to this, because these are not threats to her like everybody else. Where everybody else,
Yeah.
So she's very fortunate.
I'll put it to you like this. If we were in Iraq and a guy was strapped with a body bomb by the insurgents and his family was on the base, you would not bring this guy back to the base so that he could say goodbye to his loved ones, because that trigger could go off at any time and he could kill you, himself, and several other people. And that's exactly what Eugene was at this point. He was a walking body bomb. At any moment, he could turn feral. And these aren't the Walking Dead zombies where they're like, roar, and they're slow and you can stab them with 3 business days in order to get it done.
Yeah, and they get like a fever, they fall asleep, and then all of a sudden they woke up. Yeah, no,
These are super fast, no holds barred zombies. Joel knows this, and he took that off. He took the threat off the board, and he did explain it to her. It's one of the few times he actually does explain his actions, and he tells Ellie exactly what's what. But because Ellie's 19 years old, she's stubborn, she's idealistic, she's selfish, and she thinks that she knows better. She fucking pops off the way that she does in front of you.
Well, it's also been stewing for a while though, too, right? And look, this is genuine, a genuine difference between men and women. Men usually compartmentalize things. We take it out aggressively in a different direction. We do things that are stupid.
Women react with emotion.
And women bottle things up in an emotional way, and it comes out in outbursts. Look, and that's not a shot at women. I get it. That's what she's doing. I understand. She has been harboring this whole Salt Lake City incident for years now. She's had questions. She's never got the answers. And this is like, she's like, Joel, we need to take him back because he deserved to say goodbye. I understand her point of view, and I get it too. But I agree with Joel more, because when he takes him to the lake and he's like, I just wanted to see her face for one last time. And this is the one of the best lines in the whole entire episode. He's like, if you really love somebody, you can see their face whenever you want. That's 100,000% true. If you love somebody, you can literally close your eyes and their face is there. So
2 things I want to add. One,
yes, ma'am.
She's a 19-year-old, not fully developed frontal lobe little
yes,
brat.
ma'am. Yep.
This is what she does. Second thing I want to think, she should not be on patrols at all then. Because it's not even Joel's decision. I'm sure this is Jackson's decision. Like, this is a rule written somewhere that if somebody is bit out in the field, that's it. They don't come back. We don't bring them back to town. So if she wants to be somebody on patrol and be somebody important to this town, she could never do it if she's going to bring every single person back that gets bit while she's out back to town to say goodbye to their loved ones. That's not how it works. That's not how the real world works in Jacksonville, in this universe, in a sense. So
it's not how the real world works now. I mean, like I said, my analogy about the body bomb thing, that's exactly accurate. Like, I'm sorry, like Nadia, if some terrorist strapped you with a body bomb and you were like, I got to see Chris one more time, I'm not going to bring you to Chris so that you can explode on him. You know what I mean? Because the
better option is to basically
Bill Chill. I like your Obama.
I do too.
Avatar with the middle finger. Very welcome, man. I haven't seen you, so welcome, sir.
Welcome, Bill.
They could have tied him up and dragged him back, same as they did with his dead body.
His dead body's not going to attack anybody.
Yeah, his dead body's not going to attack anybody, but also his live body. I mean, he could also call other cordyceps in the area. Like, there's a whole bunch of risks. And again, I don't think this is Joel's rule of shooting him and not bringing him back alive. This, I think is Jackson's rule.
Yeah, it's a community rule.
Community rule. keep the community safe, you have to make hard choices. So again, if she wants to be on patrol and be somebody who protects this community, she's got to learn how to make the hard choices like this.
Yeah.
And she's obviously not up for it. So
And I do think that they use this scene, in my opinion, to frame Joel a little bit as villainous in her eyes.
Oh, definitely.
Because there are people out there, unfortunately, who are going to watch this and go, well, I agree with Ellie. He should have gave him a chance. No. What Joel did was very honorable, and he did the right thing. And again, I'm going to lean into this, and this sucks. Sometimes you have to make the worst decision possible.
Yeah.
Or the best decision of somebody you love or everyone else. And
Ryan, I think you've said that now like 6 times on the
67 times. I'm a check.
6 times on that stream. Like I get it, dude. I get it, dude. It hits you like at home somewhere. Like it's triggering something in you.
I agree to an extent, but I think
it's just a really big theme in this episode. So bye, Penny.
I know. Good night, Penny. Have a good night.
I think a more honorable thing would have been to say, all right, look, we're going to get back to the base and I'm just going to tell her what happened. And I don't think Joel needed to lie to Margot.
That's true. Gail, you know what, Toxic, you are right. I don't think he needed to lie, but again, he did lie. And the woman, he was just trying to.
I think he shot Eugene for the good of the community. I think he lied for the good of himself.
I actually think he lied for the good of Gail, to be honest.
I was gonna say, like,
I don't think he wants to cause suffering to someone else.
I mean, he said the words like, you know, your husband was brave. Your husband, he didn't want to sit there and say, hey, your husband was sniveling, crying, and
well, no, he didn't need to say that, certainly, but he could have just been like, listen, he did want to come back and talk to you. It was too much of a risk. I put him down. I am so very, very sorry. I think he could have accomplished the safety, and I think he could have had a little bit of honor by I get it. A comforting lie is sometimes better, but at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, who did you lie for? Did you lie because it comforted Gail or because it made the situation easier on you? And I'm not willing to go either way on it. Both of those things could be true and neither of them can be true. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's just a question. It's a morality question.
But now we also know the answer to Eugene's death because this has been teased since episode 1 about Joel doing something to him.
Was there any doubt?
There wasn't any doubt. And to be honest, I get it why they inputted this in this episode because, again, like Ryan said, they want to kind of like mirror Joel to be a bad guy in Ellie's eyes, right? Again, she's a 19-year-old teenager, so every adult's a bad person in her eyes doing something. You know, she can do no wrong because, you know, she knows what's right at 19. Anyway, I just don't think it's impactful, right? Because it's what we all thought. He got bit, and Joel probably had to take him out, or at some point something happened. I don't think it adds much to the Joel Gail dynamic that we've seen in the past episodes. This is my opinion.
I do have a question, because it's been a hot minute since we watched the episode. Didn't Gail say that because you murdered my husband? She didn't say you killed my husband. You murdered my husband.
He did murder him.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I think she phrased it as you murdered my husband. So
she's also an alcoholic, weed smoking. It's like she's trying to do. She's also trying to do stuff to manage her grief right now. Yeah.
Murder. It's definitely murder.
I mean, she's been through a whole lot. She was in Beetlejuice.
Right.
Only Nadia knows what's right at 19. Yes, exactly. Only I knew at 19 years old what was right.
Let's not sugarcoat it though. I mean, he did murder him. He shot him in the back of the head while he was still human.
Like, yeah, and again, there's different ways this could be, but it comes down to also Ellie. And to me, this is the moment Ellie betrays Joel. Doesn't just do it out of sight. She betrays him right here.
100% agree with you on that one. And it makes her a huge hypocrite because, like I said earlier in that very scene, she's like, I'm not your fucking kid. I'm your partner. Okay, well, you don't betray your fucking partner, even if your partner's in the wrong. If me and Chris were on patrol and Chris had to pop an insurgent, and that insurgent didn't have a weapon, so we had to lay an AK on him or something, I would not betray Chris for the benefit of, you know what I mean? I wouldn't go back to the base and be like, you didn't need to shoot that guy, Chris. I'd be like, yeah, no, Haji had a gun. it is what it is. You know, I mean, you
Well,
you
it's
back
like
your partner.
Hook says he's bit. He died when he got bit. Joel just
I mean,
neutralized him.
that's certainly that's
I
certainly
mean,
yeah.
And-
yeah.
yeah, and I actually agree with what Hook said on both reasons. You know, murder is a legal term. There are no laws, so that's why I think they're framing it this way. And at the same time, yeah, you know, he got bit. He's gonna die. It's a merciful death. Do we maybe agree with it? No, maybe not. Letting him see his wife one last time would probably be awesome, but at the same time, I get it. So yeah, I agree with both of what Hook said.
Yeah, I'm looking at the scene right here. She said, "You shot and killed my husband."
Okay.
And she said, "You
Okay,
killed."
so
She,
cool.
she's like, "You killed Eugene." And of course, she's like, "I know why. I know why you did it for." But yeah, so I mean,
So she's
Because she's an adult and she understands
right.
the
She
safety
can't-
of the town.
yeah.
Yeah.
In the moment, yeah, she slaps Joel. She's upset because it just happened, but I think we can agree 9 months later or whatever it is, she's come to terms with it. She understands, and I mean, she must have been at least accepting of it because she's acting as his psychotherapist or whatever.
and she says right there, she's like, and yes, I know you had no choice because he didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
okay. All right. Appreciate the reading. You know, going back and finding that, man. That helps a lot.
But this
Paul,
what
you got a dip.
Sorry.
Hold on one second.
I got a dip because like my sore throat. I
All
can't
good,
even.
man.
I can't
It's all good,
contribute.
buddy.
That's why I haven't been I've been coughing,
Oh, you're
turning off
good.
my camera, and
You're good. Feel better, man. Get some
I hope so. Yeah. Next thing
What do you
coming
got?
up is yours.
Oh yeah, and then Thirsty Thursday for June 5th.
Yeah, that's a while from now.
Yeah, it's a couple weeks.
A little bit of hot tea, a little bit of vodka, a little lemon in there. You'll feel right as rain.
Mm-hmm. Make yourself some hot. What is it called? Hot toddy.
Hot toddy. Yeah.
Yeah, those are fantastic.
They actually, ironically, they work really well. To be honest, I had a friend recommend
one. Don't have.
Yeah, you don't go nuts.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Well,
feel better, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was late, and then I have to dip. I'm sorry. I'm just like rude.
Hey,
you're okay.
YouTube, baby.
You're okay. You're okay.
See you, buddy.
Yeah,
feel
thanks
better.
for having me, guys. Thanks.
See you next week. Bye.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, but she says that I know I should forgive you, but I can't because of how you did it, and that's also what's kind of messed up. She's like, well, I know you had to kill him, but then the how you killed him. Well, what'd you want him to do, lady? It's like he with the most he shot him back in the head. He said, just close your eyes, and that's why I said to Eugene, don't look. He didn't want me to see this shit. Just picture your wife, and that it was the most humane way he could have handled the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it all circles back to the first episode, which is the New Year's Eve and the porch scene. So we revisit season 2's premiere with the episode revealing Ellie's confronting Joel on the porch about the Fireflies, Joel admitting to killing them to save her, saying he'd do it again because he loves her, echoing his father's words about doing a little better each generation. Ellie says he can't forgive him, but wants to try in their final words before his death, adding heartbreak context to her revenge arc. Again, I think this is a very emotionally impactful episode. I think it's just wrongly placed in the season where it is.
I'll agree.
Because at this point, we all are sick of Ellie. To be honest, we're all, even normies, nobody's liking this show. And then you bring Pedro back here. It doesn't work. I don't think it works as well.
And I think they were trying to do that to like maybe re-engage some people because they knew, and Neil Druckmann's not stupid. He watched how the game floundered. He knew this was going to happen. So maybe if you had done it an episode or two ago, it would have been a bigger impact. I still thought it was a big impact, but no, it fell a lot shorter because you're like, okay. Because
we've already seen these scenes at the end.
Yeah, judging it on the episode's merit, it's fine. But judging it as a season on the whole, which is what you kind of have to do.
Yeah, it's awful.
You know, it's like I why do I have this emotionally impactful episode after I get the whole cringeworthy I'm gonna be a dad after you finger blasted your girlfriend?
Yeah,
like, dude, like I don't.
It was so weird.
Yeah, like I don't care now. So like everything that she's in, And what's sad is you can see she is trying. Bella Ramsey is trying to, but she's so out of her depth. She's just not, and especially next to him. And man, Pedro, whatever you don't like to see Pedro, that's fine. It is what it is. But Pedro is knocking it out of the fucking park.
Oh, he killed it. He killed it.
And she's right next to him, and it just makes her look that much worse.
Yeah. Like Bill, I think this would have been a better episode 3. So after Joel dies, we get this kind of bring it back. Get a breath.
I probably would have waited till 4, in my opinion, just to kind of like give it a little bit of a breather of 2 weeks to like maybe, it would impact people more. But what, it's been 4 weeks since Joel's death, right? 4 weeks.
This is episode 6. It's been he died in episode 2.
Yeah, so it's been 4 weeks. It's been a month.
Yeah.
It's been a month. People are like, wait, what? It's a little too late, in my opinion. And well, Bill just said that. So
yeah, it is. And again, I think this is a very well crafted episode. I like the chemistry between Pedro and Bella. Bella works well with Pedro because she can lean on him because he's the leading man in the episode. So every focus is on Pedro, even though most of this episode is about Bella, like about Ellie growing up, right? The different years and seeing the different birthdays. But I think this would have been more impactful if they had killed Joel, had this episode to give everybody a little bit of a breather, and then brought it back to Bella screaming in the hospital or whatever, and then continues with Bella's story.
Yeah,
but
I would very much buy that.
I don't have much complaints other than that about this episode. I think well crafted. I think Ellie is a snotty little brat. I think it just plays to what season 1, like this to me is a season 1 episode. It's very well done. It's just, what are we going to get next with the finale now? Where are we going after this?
No, I have no clue. I have no clue what they're knowing, what they're going to do with season 3. And then they think that they're going to get a season 4. It really calls into question what's going to happen next week. I honestly could, if you put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
I honestly think they're going to end on an Abby cliffhanger. It's going to be something with Abby. They're going to, and
I said that in previous episodes. I said if we get to the season finale and the very last frame is her like creeping up on Abby and Abby turns around, I've been expecting you, Ellie, or whatever, then I'm gonna just be like, dude, I'm checking out. Like
that's what I said earlier in this stream. I said more than likely what's gonna happen is exactly what you said, Toxic. Then we're just gonna get season 3 of just Abby's side of the story, and then we won't get the end to that cliffhanger for tomorrow or next week until season 4.
And that really weighs on you watching an episode like this or watching the season as a whole, doesn't it? Because then you're just like, it's setting you up in a way to just fail. So you're just like, God, it totally, it's like running 3 miles and then getting to the finish line and they go, oh, you got another 1.5 miles to go in the rain uphill. And you're like, what? So, it's, I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it isn't going to be good.
Will, final thoughts on the episode. Toxic, I'll let you go first.
I thought a lot about this episode during the week. So I do like it. I think it's one of the better episodes, and I think that the message that they have behind it is really well done. You have a father, you have a grandfather situation, because if you look at it as like Ellie's his kid, then you look at he's the son, and then the cop at the beginning is his dad telling him, I hope that you do a little bit better. I always, my dad, his father ran part of the Klan in North Carolina, and my dad always said what a piece of shit his dad was. And I've been, many people who've read my book know that I don't appreciate my dad because he was a criminal, so I tried to do better. And, obviously I failed in that. And, you hope that your kids can do better than what you have done, and you love them as much as you can. And I think that that's expressed very, very well in this episode. It's really heartbreaking because at the end of the day, when you get older, all you realize is that you're just an accumulation of all your failures. You don't look at the things that you've done that are good. Joel spent so much of his time, trying to save teenage girls to be a good, girl dad kind of, and it killed him at the end. He basically saved the life of the person that took his life because that was his nature to want to save these girls and do things that his dad failed in doing and what he himself failed in by not being able to save his daughter. And ultimately it kills him. And so that touched me this episode. Them bringing that quote back, there's not a moment that he's acting in this that I don't believe him. It's not unbelievable to me in any kind of way when he tells her, I know in the game, Joel never says to Ellie that explicitly that he loves her. And in this, he does and tries to tell her, I did these things for you, these horrible, horrible things because I love you and you'll never understand that. And even if you do, I hope you do it better than me. At the end of the day, that is all you want as a father. And I think it's expressed very well. I think it'll go down in history as like this being a gleaming great episode in a meh kind of uneven, probably not very good season. But it is a great episode. And like I said, I have watched it twice, and both times that I watched it did touch me very deeply. For that, I wish we had more of that. And I wish we had, again, I'll just, I don't want to beat it to death. I wish we had a better actress that could play off of that and show us a little bit more of that, because I don't think that's coming across in her performance, and I don't think that's going to get any better. And I really have no idea what's going to happen with the show moving forward. But as far as just judging it on this episode, it's a great episode.
Fair enough. Blue?
Yeah, I mean, Pedro is acting his ass off. He's doing a great job with this version of Joel, but much like I said with the TV show version, Joel in the game doesn't say I love you. Joel in the game doesn't cry. Joel in the game is a hardened son of a bitch that's been there, done that, who had his little girl mowed down in his arms. That kind of fucks you up inside. He doesn't have time to have panic attacks and talks like this. He's a strong father figure, and he would explain his actions to Ellie, but not sitting there weeping but Pedro's doing a good job with what he's given. So, as I said, adding stuff like the opening with his dad was pretty cool. But then again, having this whole Gale subplot, it's just padding more time. Like, this is another episode where it's an hour and 10 minutes long. You could shave off a good 25 minutes easily. And that's what these guys are doing. They're padding this to have obviously third season. As we said earlier, Nadia, like you talked about, Druckmann is maybe trying to milk a fourth season now. Like, goddamn, guys, it's like, I don't mind some padding, like in episode 2 with the big zombie battle sequence, but you're just padding and padding and padding and padding. And like, so far this entire season, every episode, I could shave off, even with my limited editing skills, 15-20 minutes easily per episode. They're just going to drag this shit the fuck out. It's well acted, but this is the last we're going to see of Joel, because even in the game, Nadia, Joel has no more flashbacks. So yeah. Joel's officially, so he's dead. The flashbacks are gone. Joel is never coming fucking back unless they want to make the third game with some magical dream sequence. You know what I mean? But Joel's gone. So the rest of this storyline from here on out is 100% Ellie and Abby, and maybe Abby could carry some stuff. But yes, Bella Ramsey is not going to carry her and Dina this fucking show. This is the best episode from here on out. Where any of us are going to say.
Yep. Ryan?
I think this is probably the best episode of the probably the whole entire franchise, to be quite frank. And it's all done through a flashback, and that adds literally the massive emotional depth to it. If it was like present tense, it wouldn't be as impactful, but because we know he's dead, that's why it elevates it to a new height, in my opinion. I think that again, look, Pedro Pascal's a weirdo, whatever, but he is a very, very good actor in this role. He is carrying the show in this role. I don't think that Bella Ramsey can hold it down. It's not a shot at her. It's not, it's not fair. She's young. It's not fair to the actress that plays Dina or that plays Abby. Whatever her name is. I need to learn her name because she's very, very
Caitlin
good.
Deaver.
Thank you.
Caitlin Deaver.
Yeah, she's very good. But moving forward, we know where this goes, and unless they're going to sprinkle in flashbacks of Ellie and Joel in the next season, which I'm gonna be really scarce of thinking they would, because again, they have said the next season is going to focus on Abby, and again, Caitlin Deaver, she is very, very good. You're also the villain, and we also kind of hate you. And that's not your fault as an actress, but it is your fault as a character. And I don't know. I don't know. I honestly think that they're going to leave this on an awful cliffhanger. And again, probably with Ellie and Abby.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, Abby or something like that, who has, I don't know, like the mark on Abby. I'm sorry, Ellie, and Ellie's like oblivious in a field or behind a whatever, and Abby's about ready to pounce on her, and it's just like cliffhanger, and it's like, yay! I don't know. I don't think this show is going to survive without Pedro Pascal. Even if they funded it for 4 seasons, like they've done with Rings of Power, they funded 5 seasons of Rings of Power, where it's like, all right, I'm gonna choke this slop down. So that's what I think they kind of did.
So I have a little bit of a different approach on what they could possibly do on this. I think the 3rd season could be good from Abby's perspective because we have a good actress playing Abby. So I think we could have a strong season 3 if they are really going to do from the point of view of Abby, because we have Caitlin Denver, right? Denver, I think her last name is Deaver. Toxic probably stepped away.
Deaver.
Anyway,
no, it's Deaver.
Yeah, I think she could carry a whole season to herself. That being said, where does this go then for season 4? Then we get the conflict between the two of them. Would anybody care at that point? Because season 3 probably won't come out till next year, if they're not going to do a 2-year gap.
Yeah.
So we get Abby's story, and then you have to wait another year to 2 years for season 4.
Yeah.
Which would be the conclusion of whatever season 2's cliffhanger is going to be.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense with the viewership. It doesn't make sense with the amount of money. So in honesty, I see HBO approaching them saying, hey, you're going to have to combine 3 and 4 together for season 3.
I think you're right. I think that's exactly what they'll do. I mean, they can't. HBO is not one of those streaming networks that just lets people it's not like Amazon where they have like endless amounts of money from some other
billions, trillions.
If you don't watch HBO or HBO Max now again, if you don't watch HBO Max, they don't have a bunch of stuff to sell you like Amazon Prime does and things like that. They don't have a huge infrastructure. I don't think they can afford to have a series.
They're more reality. They lean a little bit more on the reality TV shows nowadays with Max. Granted, they do have like some iconic shows that still play. It's just I just don't see with the viewership with this and the reviews too.
Yeah, but like with Amazon, they can afford to have a Rings of Power show, go out there and just do a bunch of willy-nilly stuff, because then they're just like, well, hey, we're still selling cell phones and we have this huge Bezos money to back us up. I don't think HBO Max can afford it. I think I think it's going to be exactly what you say, Nadia. I think it's going to be them going, listen, the numbers were not good on season 2, guys. So what's your well, we were going to do all Abby season 3 and then wrap it up in season 4. How about half a season of Abby and the second half of the season wrap it up? How about you do that? That's kind of what I picture.
I think, yeah. I think that's where they're going.
Yeah, that was kind of my initial point, is that I think that season 3 and 4 were going to be like season 3A and 3B. But I do have a question, Nadia. Do you know how the story ends on this?
Yes, I do. I know how the
Okay.
game ends. I know
Okay.
how the
Okay.
confrontation between Abby and Ellie goes and stuff. And
Do you guys
we,
think they'll
and
stick
we,
to
we
that?
have that turd on the way, and that's a bigger turd than literally what happened to Joel.
that's why I think we're going to be getting a combined. Again, it's not so much the story that they're trying to tell, it's the wait time too.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to wait around for this for the conclusion. Nobody's going to wait around for the conclusion of this if we're going to get a filler season in between. And I don't mean filler as like a shot to Caitlin Denver. I think she's a great actress. I think it would be interesting to see Abby's point of view.
But yeah, she's not gonna bring a show around. Like, she's not a household name where they're gonna go, oh, I can't wait to see Caitlin D. I mean, hell, I think she's a great actress, and I struggle with remembering her name sometimes.
That's why I think we're gonna get a combination. Realistically, I really do. I think this whole narrative of wanting a season 4 that we've been seeing on social media and stuff, I think that's Neil kind of like, seeing what the reaction would be to bring it to HBO. And to be honest, I've seen nothing but negative reaction to it. So I don't think his play is well.
Yeah, because
to the episode. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You finish.
As to the episode itself, same thing. It's a very strong episode. It's a very good narrative episode. It's a chemistry between Pedro and Bella is really good because she can lean on him. I love Joel's internal conflicts throughout this episode. And I even liked Bella throughout this because she does play a teenager well. Like, to me, she plays a teenager well. It was believable. It's just that we know what has come before and we know what is going to come forward. And Blue is right. This is it with Pedro. We're done. There's no more Joel. So there's no looking forward to another flashback or anything. So now we've got to rely on
that's what
Ellie,
Ron said. The only possible way is if they got desperate and like, hey, we'll add a new Joel scene that wasn't in the game.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of wondering they're gonna do. I would almost actually bank on the fact they're gonna do it.
And even like what Toxic asked earlier, will they stick to the same ending? At this point, it's hard to tell because it's like
they'll stick to the same ending. Yeah.
I would love an Abby season because I think they could maybe go into the whole Wolf versus Seraphites war kind of deal and play off of that. Great. But again, the wait time's not going to be worth it. I don't think to people.
I'm so tired of these long ass wait times. Why do we have to do this? And
it's because everything has to be at the production value of what we see. It's no longer the same set, the same cast coming back recurring with these 22 episode seasons that are cheaper to make on a studio. Now we have to have.
I think they're laundering money is what I think it's more like what
it's also attention span. People nowadays don't have attention span to go through a 22 episode season with multiple arcs. People want the whole story to be able to binge in a weekend.
Dude, I used to love the fact that you would watch the X-Files or Bones or Friends or Seinfeld, and you got 22 episodes a season.
Them days are gone, man.
I'm about to rewatch Buffy for the first time since it's aired. I haven't seen Buffy since it's aired. So I'm
let me get you on my my rewatch. We're doing a retrospective. Let me get you on there.
If it aligns with the episode but and I'm also rewatching Handmaid's Tale because I only watched the first season, but I want to play.
Yeah, I watched the first season and I thought it was pretty good. I know where it goes, but I will say this, and I'm going to give them some credit. The Fallout show has a year turnaround.
Yes, because people are complaining about it nowadays. There's
Which
a voice
they should. Thank God. Thank you, Jesus.
Viewership. The problem is most of these companies depend on viewership, and
the Fallout show didn't piss off their fan base the way that The Last of Us has. The Last of Us pissed off the gamers, and they pissed off the normies who like it. They pissed off both. They managed to somehow piss off both.
I know. I'm just saying turnaround wise, like we're finally getting a show, like, because again, look at House of the Dragon season 3. Like, dude, House of the Dragon season 2, the way it ended, they had 2 more episodes they could have did, or 1 more episode. I'm sorry, and they didn't. And everybody went, wait, what? And then HBO like,
They didn't even give me a fucking battle in that season. I'm over it.
No.
I'm done with Game of Thrones.
And now they're like,
House
okay,
of
we'll be
Dragon,
back in
all this shit.
we'll be back in a year and a half, guys. It's like going in, and as somebody who I had a panel for like, I don't know, a solid year. We watched all the Game of Thrones episodes in the matter of like a year and like a month or something. And then we jumped into House of the Dragon. And then by the time we finished it, House of the Dragon season 2 was literally, we had like 2 weeks to prepare, and it was out. And now it's like House of the Dragon season 3.
You heard it here first, folks. We are on Nadia's channel. We are predicting that season 3 of The Last of Us will be the last season, and they're going to do a half and half. You heard it here. Nadia is the foreseer of all foreseers. She is the she has her crystal ball, and she sees into realms.
I agree with.
I just think the studios nowadays, with the writer strike that's happened, with all the strikes that have happened in the last 2 years, with now WB and Sony opening up studios in Las Vegas, so they are moving out of LA. They are breaking ground here in Las Vegas with 2 studios. I really think people are going to these studios are going to really start watching what they spend their money on, and viewership is a big deal.
I hope so.
And turnaround is a big deal. Now, caveat is Stranger Things, because Stranger Things was what put Netflix on the map. So I feel like Stranger Things, even if it was another year before we got season 5, people are still going to tune into it. That's a one-off. But this whole bullshit of 2 to 3 years in between each season for these shows, especially if it's not a good show, if the season's not good.
Right.
Look at the fact that Umbrella Academy. Look at that shit show.
Look at Euphoria.
First season. Well, yeah.
Look at Euphoria.
Yeah. Strong first season.
I've only seen clips of Euphoria, just for the record.
I like Euphoria. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. Anyway, let's get out of here. Blue, what do you got going on next?
I'll try to get like Lilo and Stitch video out tomorrow. Just busy, and Niet's doing Man of Steel tomorrow.
I know.
So controversial with the new film coming out. Like, is Man of Steel good or bad?
I like it.
It depends on who you ask. Yeah, it's like I swear,
like it for a lot of reasons.
I think in my life,
I like it for that reason very much.
I think between Man of Steel and Avatar, I've never seen a more divided fan base. It's where 10 people, 5 hate it, 5 love it. Like, a lot of people love Man of Steel. A lot of people fucking hate Man of Steel. It's weird.
I have one issue with Man of Steel, and it's only one.
Not enough.
So I assume you won't be on Stranger Things tomorrow, then, since you're going to be on Niet's.
We'll see what time it is. I forgot. I'll check it later on.
You might be a little late. Late. That's because I think he starts 2 hours before me, 2.5 hours before me. So
Ryan knows it too. The whole Kevin Costner.
Yeah, that bothers me. So there is one Jonathan Kent that is literally the best ever. John Schneider killed it in Smallville. There is no better epitome of Jonathan Kent. And God bless you, Hook. Have a great night. So is
that all you got going on, Blue? Just the Lilo and Stitch? Okay. Toxic, what you got going on next?
I'm trying to get the gang together to do a 20-year retrospective on Serenity. Trying to see who.
I'm out.
Okay. Any of my yikes. Any of my Firefly Serenity. Wow, she took herself completely.
Hold
out
on. No, I wanted to show this. What I got. I got this one.
I'm really surprised at that.
And I got this one.
We need to talk about that at some. You know what? I would like it. You know what, Nadia? I would actually like to have you on that, just because I don't mind. I personally don't mind some pushback, and you can shit on it while we all fanboy it. You can shit all over it. No,
it comes from my dislike of Nathan Fillion. That's where
the
comes from. So
I want to. We must.
Fillion?
We got okay.
Nathan Fillion gives me the ick.
Okay,
really? You don't like The Rookie?
God,
that's a good show.
Yeah, I want to deep dive it at some point. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing that, and I gotta get another. I haven't done a Consider the Source on book versus film in so freaking long. I really need to do that, and I think I'm gonna do Simple Favor, just because the Wacko sequel just came out. So I think I'm gonna do a Simple Favor by Darcy Bell that was turned into a Paul Feig film in 2018, and then the most recent one has just come out, the sequel, which doesn't have a book, but it's based on the same material. So I may do that. I think I almost for certainly will do that next. But yeah, earlier this week we did a because I didn't know Lance was coming back, we did a Toxic Tuesday, which was a lot of fun. We talked about a lot of stuff. I may keep doing that. I don't know. I may have to adjust the time on it a little bit. But yeah, that's it right now for me.
Very cool. Ryan?
I am I've taken a little bit of break from streaming. Had a lot going on lately. Just personal stuff, family things and stuff like that, and friends anyway. Bill says I need Legion back. Well, I'm right here. So it's like I that's probably not what he's talking about, but anyway, I want to try to play the thing remastered tomorrow. Start that for what I started when I first started my YouTube channel called Friday Night Legion TV series. No, I know, dude. He's like, dude, shut the fuck up. So anyway, yeah, just gonna try to play some video games. Should be, I don't know where I'm gonna be. Oh no, I do. So basically next Tuesday should be Party Chat, I believe, with Nerdy Neo. And then of course going to be on this panel. And next week's the 28th, so I do have a previous engagement with I'll be here briefly for like an hour, and then I have to be on Yeti Yuff's channel because he's invited me back on. So but I will be here to talk about the wonderful Last of Us finale, and I'm sure the majority of us are all going to be right, and I look forward to the day that we all get to talk.
They're gonna pull it out. They're gonna pull it out in the last episode, and we're all gonna be eating our words. I'm so sure.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be so fun. Thank you, Nadia. And gentlemen, always a pleasure.
Yeah, bud.
Well, for me, tomorrow we're back here for Stranger Things Season 3, Episode 1 and 2. So a couple announcements with that. We've got Nick and I have some ideas that we're going to be doing for this season. So join us over there. Well, here tomorrow at 6 p.m. And then back on Tuesday, I have a new show that's premiering called The Final Girls. The last Tuesday of every month, I will have other female horror content creators join me, and we're going to have a roundtable discussion of like what we intaked in the month. So what we watched, played, read in the horror genre, and what we're looking forward to in June. So we're each bringing a little bit of mix to the table, so that should be fun. And then we're back here again with the season finale of The Last of Us next Thursday. Stranger Things continues on the Friday, and then the 31st will be the members watch party, which will be Megan. And then after this is done, I don't know what I will be filling in for Thursdays. I do want to cover at some point Netflix's Fear Street Prom Queen next week. I'm going to kind of try to fit that in because I've read those books, and I know it's premiering tonight at midnight on Netflix. So hopefully I'll get to watch it this weekend. And then rewatching Buffy, I might do something for members only. I'm kind of playing with that idea as well. We've got a couple TV shows coming out. We've got Alien Earth. We have Welcome to Derry and a couple other horror ones that will be coming more towards the fall that I'm sure I'll have panels to discuss with. It's been a long day. Sorry, guys. I know, right? It's been. On that note, thank you everybody who was watching. We had like 53 concurring views going throughout tonight between X and YouTube. I don't know Rumble because I can't read Rumble on StreamYard. So that being said, I am trying to stream more on Rumble. I'm trying to remember to post streams over there. So if you are watching at Rumble and future streams, please leave me a comment. Let me know if you're watching over there. So other than that, thank you all for being here. Thank you to my panel, and we'll see you all next time. Stay spooky, y'all.